Hi, welcome to the session. We are going to discuss conditional rendering in Vue. We can use VF directive to do that. The block will be rendered when the VF directive's value returns truthy. Let's see in action. Create a data called isOnline and set its value to false. Create a paragraph and bind isOnline to VF directive. Run it and check by update the value of isOnline. Yes, working. The paragraph element conditionally rendering according to the truthiness of isOnline. We can use VL's directive to bind else case block. Let's check how to use that. Create a new paragraph and add VL's directive. Run it and check by updating the value of isOnline. Yes, the else block is working when isOnline value falsy. We can use VL's if directive to bind the else if block. Let's check how to use that. Create a data called has connectivity and set its value to false. Create a paragraph after the if block and bind has connectivity to VL's if directive. Run it and check by updating the value of isOnline and has connectivity. Yes, the else if block is working when isOnline value becomes falsy and has connectivity becomes truthy. Please note the VLs element must immediately follow a VIF or VLSIF element and VLSIF element must immediately follow a VIF element. Conditional groups. We can attach a VIF directive only to a single element. What we do then if we want to conditionally render a group of elements? In this case, we can use the template element to bind the VIF directive. These templates elements serve as an invisible wrapper to the block and will not be included in the final rendered result. Let's check it. Create a data called isOnline and set its value to false. Create a heading and a paragraph. Add a wrapper template for the block and bind isOnline to VF directive. Run it and check by updating the value of isOnline. Yes, the block is rendering when isOnline value becomes truthy. Let's check the rendered elements. Yes, here you can see the wrapper template is not included in the rendered result. Control reusable elements. Vue renders elements by reusing effectively instead of rendering from scratch. It not only makes the view faster but also has some useful advantages. Let's check how Vue reusing elements and how to use this effectively to build compelling user interfaces. Create a data called isForgetPassword and set its value to false. Create a division. Create a template inside the division and bind isForgetPassword to VIF directive. Create a heading, input and anchor. Handle anchors click event and set isForget value to false. Create another template and add a VLs directive. Create a heading, input and anchor elements. Handle click event on anchor and set isForget value to true. Run it and input some data and see what's happening. Here you can see the input value preserving even after we toggle the blocks. The input we defined in all the conditional block is joined and rendered it as a single element. That means Vue is reusing the element instead of terminate and create a new from scratch. So the value we entered to the input will not be erased when switching the conditions. What we do if we want to render fresh elements instead of the reused ones? Here we can use the key attribute to separate them. Let's do it. Set a key attribute with a unique value to both input. Let's check it now. Yes, the input value is not preserving. Now Vue is not reusing the element and it rendering from scratch each time we switch the condition. Vshow directive. Vue provides another directive called Vshow to conditionally display elements. The element will be displayed when the Vshow directive's value becomes truthy. The main difference between vif and vshow is vif completely remove the element when the condition becomes falsy, but vshow just hide the block using CSS property display. Let's see how it works in action. Create a data called isTyping and set its value to false. Create a paragraph and bind isTyping to vshow directive. Run it and check the rendered elements. Here you can see the paragraph is removed by adding an inline style using display property. Let's update the value of isTyping and see how it working. Yes, that inline style is removed and the element is visible. Let's check how vif directive working. Create a data called isOnline and set its value to false. Create a paragraph and bind isOnline to vif directive. Run it and check the rendered elements. Here you can see the if block is rendered as a comment node. Let's update the value of isOnline to true and check. Yes, the paragraph element is rendered by replacing the comment node. Difference between vif and vshow. The elements will be destroyed and recreated when the vif directive's truthiness change. But in vshow, the element doesn't remove or recreate according to the truthiness of expression. It only hides the block using CSS property display. The vif element will not be do anything if the initial condition is false, and the block won't be rendered until the condition becomes true. The vshow will always render regardless of the initial condition. So the vif has high toggle cost and vshow has high initial render cost. So prefer vshow if it has to toggle often and vif if condition unlikely to change. Vif with v4. Using vif and v4 directives together is not recommended because v4 has a higher priority. So vif condition will be checked in each iteration and it will affect the efficiency. We can use computed properties to filter the result and then use on v4 by avoid using vif completely. Let's see in action. Create a collection called colors with name and is accepted properties. Create an unordered list with a list item. Loop through colors and bind the color name. Run it and check. Yes, the list is rendered with color names. Let's bind the isAccepted property to vif directive. Run it and check. Yes, listed only the accepted colors. In this case, the VF directive will check the condition every iteration because V4 has a higher priority. Let's create a computed property and fix that. Create a computed property called accepted colors. Filter the accepted colors and return it. Let's use this property for V4 instead of colors by removing the VF directive. Yes, working. The accepted colors only rendered in the list. Thanks for watching this session. We hope this session helpful for you to understand more about conditional rendering in Vue. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tutorials. See you in the next session.